When you hear me say the word faith, you will probably automatically think I'm talking about religion or belief in God. Faith is indeed very much spiritual, but it is so much more about you than any belief in a religious deity or organized doctrine of religion. I'm your host, Keith, here today to kick off the second season of the Everyday Polymath Podcast with an episode focused on faith. Whether you believe you have it or you don't, I'm going to discuss today why faith is the key to every person's success, regardless of religion. Most people don't necessarily get to pick the religion. They're born into it and raised under the doctrine of their parents' religious beliefs or lack thereof. A few people as adults decide to join or change religions as they expand their horizons. Others, like myself, grew up with organized religion as a cornerstone of their moral compass. However, as I became an adult, I began to move away from the idea of organized religion and began to piece together my thoughts on spirituality and religion. Reflecting on my spirituality reminded me how faith is so much more than religion. It is the key to your spiritual and emotional health. It is the reason for all of your success and accomplishments. By definition, faith is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Take a moment to let that sink in. Think about the times you had complete trust in a person or unwavering confidence in an idea. This is your faith in action. You might be able to give some logical explanation for your confidence in certain situations, but I guarantee you won't have reasons for every one of them. Often circumstances can be a no-brainer. For example, you have a close friend you have known forever that you trust without hesitation. If they say they'll be there to help you, you know you can count on them. You have faith in them to always come through because they have never disappointed you or given you any reason to question their dedication to your friendship. But what happens when they do fall from grace and make a mistake? They're only human. What is it that allows you to get over someone disappointing you or hurting you even when it happens over and over again? In some cases, if you looked at all of your relationships logically, you'd stop talking to a vast majority of family and friends. What keeps you locked into these not always beneficial relationships is your faith in people. As you build a relationship with someone, trust and confidence grow. Sometimes a betrayal of this can be the end of a relationship without a chance for reconciliation. Most of the time, though, if you can talk it over and get past the issue, your heart will push you past the conflict because you believe this problem won't happen again. You have faith that you both will be better off in the future because you are in each other's lives. Faith taps into your spirituality and personal beliefs on a grand scale in every decision you make based on a feeling. Your choices based on a feeling may not always be the right ones. But at that moment, you embrace the faith that your decision is the correct one. You abandon logic and reasoning just to dive into the unknown because you know if you do not, your heart will never forgive you, no matter what your head is telling you. It is the art of living your life. Through this creativity, making decisions based on your feelings of faith opens life's possibilities to you achieving more than you ever planned. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the people at Anchor for putting together such an awesome podcasting tool. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. First off, it's free, so you can launch your podcast with no risk at all and at your own pace. With their incredible creation tools, you can record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. It couldn't be easier. Not to mention, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so you can be heard on all the major platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many, many more. You can even earn money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. If you've been curious about launching your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to start today. Periodically in life, you get a good feeling about something and dive headfirst into it without much thought. This little bit of faith pushing you in the right direction can change your life's path tremendously. For me, it was when I quit my dispatching job and took out a huge loan to start flight training again. When I think back on it, I just had a feeling that this was an opportunity to get back into flying and improve my life. I had a rough idea of how I wanted it to go, but nothing ever goes as planned. Really, all I knew for sure was that I had the faith in myself to do anything I had to do to achieve my goal. My faith during this time was tested over and over again. During the challenges of flight training, the disappointment of the realities of working for an airline, and the road back home to figure out what was next, it was a challenging time that tested my faith in myself. Like the forging of a steel sword, I was put under various heat and stress to become stronger than ever. I think if things hadn't played out like they did, I never would have ended up flying airships, or becoming a farmer, or even hosting this podcast. All of our decisions lead us to who we are now. I'm just glad I had the faith in myself to trust my decisions would lead me to where I was meant to be. Your faith or lack thereof in yourself can determine your path more than you realize. It is faith that allows you to take calculated risks and live out adventures that you never thought were possible. When you abandon your faith in yourself, you put yourself in a hopeless frame of mind. Remember that if you can't believe in yourself, you can't expect others to have a reason to support you. It all starts with the spark of faith inside you that creates the momentum to move you forward. No matter how dark a place you are in, your faith in yourself will light the way to your better future. The beautiful thing about faith is that it is beyond explanation or reasoning. It is spiritual and emotional. It never has to be created because it is always there. It is just the question of whether you're willing to embrace it and dive headfirst into it without hesitation. Your faith in yourself and others can lead you to places you never imagined. The road will not always be smooth, but it is your faith that will get you through the rocky road of life. Knowing you can rely on the trusted people in your life, and most importantly, yourself, this will give you all the confidence you need to achieve any goal. Even if you aren't necessarily religious, it is important to tap into your spiritual side to connect with the things in life that are beyond simple explanation. Embrace your faith and nurture it. Believe in yourself is where it all begins. No one ever achieved anything and said, "I didn't believe I could do this." Believing is only the first step, though. You need to put your faith in yourself into action, like the Bible verse from James 2:20. But are you willing to recognize, you foolish fellow, that faith without works is useless? Thanks to everyone who has been catching up on the first season of the podcast. This season will have even more great content to discuss. Reach out on social media or the contact page if you have any topics you'd like me to touch on this season. Be sure to subscribe to the Everyday Polymath YouTube channel and like us on Facebook for additional insightful guidance to living the balanced life of an everyday polymath. I'm your host, Keith, wishing you a healthy and safe self-improvement journey. Until next time, stay curious.